Good morning, guys. It's Laurel. Today is Saturday, August 19th, and this is FLOSSTUBE number 22. Glad to have you back if you're a returning subscriber, and if you're new, welcome to my channel. This will be a video about cross-stitch and quilting. I do actually have a little bit of quilting this week. I haven't had any in the last couple videos. I am trying a different view. I was hoping it would help with the glare on my glasses, but it looks like there's still a little bit of glare. So we'll just go, and I'm sorry. Again, I know you don't come to look at my eyes. But speaking of my glasses, let's just get this out of the way. Do you see how crooked my glasses are? They should be like this. So last week, my husband and I went out to eat breakfast, and we were on the way back, and we found a quilt store that was going to be, like 5 minutes out of the way. So we stopped in it, and as we were walking up to the front door, there was this little bitty puppy at the door, like barking at us. And when my husband opened the door, we were afraid the dog would run out. So my husband was a little bit in front of me, and he leaned to the side in case the puppy was going to sprint so he could jump down and stop her. And at the same time, I leaned in to go down to stop the puppy. And when he did, his shoulder and the door frame caught my glasses, and they did this, and that's what they've looked like ever since. So I made an appointment with the eye doctor, but they cannot see me until February. So I am going to try to get into my husband's eye doctor and see, because I can't walk around holding my glasses straight all the time, or turning my head to make my glasses look straight. So sorry for the crooked glasses, but the dog didn't get out. The dog didn't get out. She wouldn't have come out anyway, but we had never been there, so we didn't know. So anyway, I have done a little bit of stitching over the last couple weeks. I worked on my focus piece. It's coming along nice. I think I have 2 new starts and just some progress to show you. I don't have any fully finished. No fully finished and no FFOs. I did want to real quick just give a quick little life update. If you're new, I try to keep life updates under 4 minutes. I feel like you don't need 25 minutes for what I've done with my life, but just to kind of keep you in the loop. I'd said in the last video, I was a little frazzled, a little unorganized. My daughter, as I've said before, is in the Air Force Reserves. She was out of the country for her yearly training. She was gone for 2 weeks. It was not fun for me. She had a great time. She loved it. She loved everything about it. She loves everything about the military. She loves her military people, and she loved being where she was. So I'm very glad to have her back. When I shot like it's a big movie production or something, but when I filmed my last video, she was actually traveling back that day. So I think that my mind was very focused on her flying over the ocean, and it was giving me a little anxiety. But she's back. She has picked her puppy up, so there's no crying puppy today. The other 2 dogs are in their crates because they were bad today. So it's just us. I will say my daughter does have another military trip coming up later in the year. So I covet your prayers for her mother, because it's going to be hard for me, but that's all I'm going to say about that. But I'm super proud of her, and I know she's watching me because she gave me a little pep talk this morning. So I love you, Courtney. Thanks for being my biggest fan. Okay, so totally blank, just totally went blank, but that happens sometimes. So let's just jump into the cross stitch, and I'll show you what I've been working on. The first piece, I didn't do a lot on this. It was in the evening, and I think I had just a little bit of time, and I wasn't really feeling working on my focus piece that evening, so I thought I would just get this one back out. This is Try to Mark Well by the Scarlet House. In the last video, I had the top row done, and I had the second row maybe over to about right here. I'm stitching this on a 32 count Heritage Lugana by Picture This Plus, and I was able to finish that second row and do the decorative line right under that. So in the next row, if you'll see, the next row will kind of start and it will get the top of the tomato. So I'm probably just gonna maybe just start right here in the middle, do those couple letters, and come down and do the tomato because I really want to see how that looks. But I think that's going to be really cute. I am using all of the DMC conversion that is on the back. She has it listed as 103 silks and DMC. And I talked about that in the last video. I'm not ready to go down the rabbit hole of a whole nother collection of thread, so I decided just to do the DMC. But she has a good DMC conversion. It looks really good. Next is my Sunday stitch, which is Though He Seemeth Sleeping by Lucy Bean. This is the one that has 4 different thread conversions in the pattern, and I chose the DMC. I'm stitching this on a piece of 28 count Silver Fox Lugana by Fiber on a Whim. Move my needle. I have really enjoyed working on this on Sundays. It's amazing how much you do when it's just your Sunday piece, because I feel like when I get it out, you know, we're busy on Sunday with church and everything, but I feel like in between church and before church, I get it out and I'm like, oh, I just have today to work on it. So it seems like I get more done than if I had been working on it every day, if that makes sense. I don't know. But it's coming along nicely. I did get the rest of the top line of the verse, the second line of the verse. I finished the vine coming across, started on the leaves. I was going to wait and just do that when I came down, but all the leaves are obviously some of the colors of the letters. So I thought if I got the vine in, I could, you know, as I had a color on my needle, I could just come down and, you know, do a leaf while I was there. But I really like that. It's going fast. So I don't remember how many Sundays it is that I have worked on this so far, but I feel like, and again, there's no deadline or anything to get it done, but I feel like not too many more Sundays I'll have that finished. And then I think that I'm going to move my Disturb Us Lord that I showed you in my last video. It's one of my Whip Go pieces. I think that will be my next Sunday stitch. I'm just going to move that over. Not that I don't have tons of new stuff that I want to start, but I thought I would just move that since I am making pretty good progress on this and I want to get Disturb Us Lord done. Next is my focus piece. And if you're new, I use American Patchwork and Quilting's UFO challenge, the numbers that they draw for my cross stitch whips, so to speak. So I have 12 on the list. This is what was drawn for August. This is in Twine Hearts by the Scarlet House. Now, when I started this, I wanted no part of linen. If I was doing it now, I would do it on the Aztec Red, but I was not at that point. So I am doing it on a piece of 25 count Tomato by Lori Holt that I coffee tea dyed. In the last video, I think I had done maybe half of the white letters, and I'd kind of done a little bit down here. But I've made pretty good progress on this. And again, this shows really bright on my viewfinder, and I'm sure when you're watching it, it's really bright. It is not this bright, but if you see, like, even right here, the reds show up really bright. And I looked at my computer to try to see in the settings if I could like calm the colors down a little bit, and I couldn't find anything. And my son's not here, so I'm going to get him to look and help me to see, because I'm sure there's a setting and I'm just not smart enough to know where it is. So there's my speech about I'm old and I can't do things without my children. So this is where I am. I kind of split up in my mind like what I wanted to have done. So like this row was a day, and then the vines were a day, and then the little strawberries, I think I did like 2 a day or something like that. Then the hearts were a day. This side of the alphabet was a day. So that way I wanted to have down to the alphabet done by this video. So I got that done. So it's the 19th. So I think I will be able to get this done this month. So I just have this basket and the birds and the flowers across the bottom. But I do love this. I am very happy to have this almost done. I may later on do like a section of it on the Aztec red. I have a piece that my friend Pam gave me that, you know, like I said, I might maybe I want to do a drum. So if I figure out the whole drum process, I may do a portion of that and make it into a drum. So I had 2 new starts since we spoke last. I was kind of in this mode in August that, you know, I get really excited Saturdays. I get a little quilting done. I get a little stitching done between chores and whatnot. And Sunday, I've been making pretty good progress on my Sunday stitch. And then Monday comes and I'm like, oh, I have to go back to work. And, you know, something about having to work and get a paycheck to help buy all my stuff. But anyway, so I was like, you know, I should just start something new on Mondays. So that'll give me, you know, I'll be looking forward to Monday instead of dreading Monday. So I have 2 new starts. The first one is my cross stitch camp piece. This is a vintage stitch 2 hexie by Hands On Design. She did put her finishing video out. I was, maybe last weekend, I went to get my toes done at the nail salon and it popped up and I was like, ooh, and I didn't have my earbuds or anything, so I couldn't like listen to it, but I'm sitting there as my feet were getting done, like scrolling through looking. So I want to get that watched and get that finished up. I am doing this piece here. I do eventually want to do this one, and there is another one. I think it was at a retreat or something, that, or an exclusive to some retreat that she doesn't have released yet, but I'm sure maybe next year she will. It has pumpkins and it's like this. So I'm sure I will want to do that also. I did order the called for floss and threads. So I'm stitching this on 32 count straw, which is what she calls for. So this is where I am. So I only have like the little pedestal and some buttons and stuff, and then just the back stitching to do on it. But this has been a fun stitch. I like it. So I have one other piece that I'm doing on 32 count linen, and I like it. I think I do like the 36 count linen better than the 32 because it is just one strand of floss. I didn't think I'd be that person, but here I am. But I really like this. She is so good at colors, and I love that combination together. So I hope, you know, to have that done. That should be done in the next 2 weeks. Again, it just kind of depends on what's going on. We're about to get to a really busy season in our family, I guess. So I don't know what the next month will hold as far as time to get things done, but I would like to finish that one. Then the next Monday, I started another Scarlet House, because how can you not love her? And her new releases, guys, let's just talk about how pretty they are. I started making a list, it's at work, of the new releases that I want. The number one so far, and I'm sure I haven't seen everything, the number one release that I want to get is Teresa Kogut Dwelling Place. That border is phenomenal. I love the sampler itself. It's pretty, but as soon as she showed it and I saw those stars down the side, I was like, that's going to be the one. And I even like her nautical stuff that she's releasing, but I'm not a nautical person. So she had shown those first, and I was like, oh, maybe because one of them has a sailboat that has quilt blocks on it. And I was like, ooh, that's kind of neat. But then she showed that one. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, okay, so I'm going to get that and nothing else. And then the Scarlet House. Tanya started showing her stuff. I want all hers. So I don't know how I'm going to make that work. I have a problem with, I don't know if you're like this, but I want something. Once I buy it, then the excitement is over. And if I buy like 8 at one time, I'm probably only going to start one of those 8, and then the other 7 just kind of dwindle off and get forgotten about. So I'm thinking about maybe buy one, start it, get a little bit done on it, maybe a couple weeks worth of work, buy another one, start it. Because once I start it, then I'm on this mode. I want it in my rotation. I want to get it done. So maybe that's what I'll do. But right now I have, I would say, a dozen things on my list that I want from the new releases. So we'll see. Haul may be big next time. I don't know. Back to what I was talking about. So Monday, so I wanted to do the Scarlet House, Charlotte Murdoch. I had talked about this in the last video also. It was one of my contenders for last month's cross stitch camp. I really wanted to do this. I knew I had a scrap piece of Brash by Prejudice Plus. And that's what I had in my mind that I was going to do it on. I got the piece out. I measured it. I measured it again. I measured it 3 times. It wasn't going to fit. And then I was like, I mean, it would have had like 3/4 of an inch maybe on the top and bottom. And I was like, maybe I can make it fit. And I was like, no, Laurel, you can't make it fit. So I went through my fabric stash, and the only thing I could find that the floss looked good on that I had already in stash was a piece of 28 count wheat Lugano. So I was like, it's so little and petite. I just really wanted it little. But that's okay. I'm going to start it on this. And I'm so glad I did, because these dogs, these are 1/1. So I'm very happy about my decision to use this piece of 28 count. It's mushroom. So I did the top band. And I did that just in the evening, that Monday evening. I think my son's girlfriend was over and they were watching TV. So I sat down and did that band. And I think the color looks pretty good on there. And it is my, brownie color. So the next row will be, I'll start on the alphabet. And I am using I have all the called for overdyed. I just love Scarlet House, but I'm sure y'all can tell that. If I had to pick like my top 10 designers, I would probably have an aneurysm just because somebody made me pick. But if I was told you could only stitch one designer the rest of your life, how would you answer such a question? That would be so hard. So if you had to make that decision, comment below. Like if you had to just pick one, that's all you could stitch forever, like who would you pick? Hard, isn't it? Okay, so that's all the progress that I have. I mean, I feel like it is a fair amount of stitching, but I think in the past videos, I've just a little bit on this piece, a little bit on this, a little bit on this, a little bit on this, but I'm really focused on trying to get some stuff done. So a little bit fewer pieces this time, but more progress. So I want to talk about plans next. My plan is I have one more Monday that I want to have a new start. So I'm going to start, my plan is, I want to like commit because, you never know what may happen. My plan is to start Fanny's Flowers next by Shakespeare's Peddler. I had talked about this in the last video, how I saw it. I had meant to go back and see what episode it was that Carol Saltbox Stitcher had shown her pieces at the end, and I'm sorry I did not go back and pick up that number. If I can find it, I'll try to come back and add it to the description box. But I'm sure you all watch Carol anyway, but she has a lot of Shakespeare's Peddler patterns, and I had ordered some more stuff from 123 Stitch, and I always, before I finish my order there, I go into my wish list and scroll down to see what's on sale on my wish list, because they have that option where it shows you, and I'm just waiting on all the other ones to be on sale so I can get those. But I have a lot of patterns over here, but retirement will happen one day and I will need some stuff to do, so that's where we are. So I did order, that takes us into a little bit of haul because I did order some stuff for this. So I want to start that. I did go ahead and order, I had 2 of the flosses I showed you last time. I did go ahead and order what flosses were in stock at 123 Stitch. I think there's 2 that I have left to get, and I did get the called for. I don't want to take those out because it'll be loud, but I did order the called for fabric, which is 36 count flax linen, and it's a fat. It's an 1/8 yard piece. It's 13 by 18. So this is a longer sampler. So, but that'll be pretty. It's kind of light compared to what I really like, but I love just the combination of those colors. I'm sorry for the glare. So if you have this, get it out and start it with me Monday. And I have the hashtag. If you're stitching anything that I am, if you'll go in and use the hashtag Stitching with the Nerd so I can see what you're doing. And apparently you may need to tag me in that also. I keep seeing FLOSSTUBERs say that Instagram has changed something about how they do hashtags, and you may not see everything posted to that hashtag just by using the hashtag, which I thought was the whole purpose of the hashtag. But again, I'm not techie. I can't even figure out how to get my red to not be neon on here. So I want to start that Monday. I did also get my piece of linen for my back to school. I am doing Consider the Lilies. I should have pulled the pattern back out, but I didn't. But y'all have all seen that. You know what it looks like. So I ordered a piece of 36 count vintage country mocha. And then I was watching Brenda and Laura, and they were like, we don't like vintage country mocha. And I was like, oh, but then I was like, you know what? It's okay, because the world is different and everybody likes different things. So it's okay. So I'm going to stitch it on this. It's huge. I'm so excited. I did buy the green floss, and I talked about that last time. So I'm just going to start on the border and just see how I go. So this is supposed to start September 1st. So my next video, I think, should be, maybe the 2nd or 3rd. So you should see a start on this next time. Again, you don't know what's going to happen in the world, but I think that's really pretty, and I think it'll look good. And I want to do also his eyes on the sparrow, because of course, so 100 years from now when I get these 2 finished, I'll show them to you. But because I want to do both of them, and I would like to display them together, I thought this would be a good choice too, because this is pretty readily available. So I do have I think I found a piece of linen that I'm going to order for, I'm sorry, my nose just itches today. I did find a piece of linen that I think will work for my birthday start from Kitten Stitcher. So I want to stitch a little bit on this just to see if I can handle this bulk of fabric and the count and all that before I go crazy and ordering all these giant pieces, because I have pulled out a lot of my bigger charts and they all need like half-yard cuts. I mean, they're just all really big. So I don't want to go crazy and order all this big fabric and then find out that I'm having a hard time handling and stitching. So after I get this started, if it's, manageable and I feel like I can handle that, then I'm going to go ahead and order that other piece from Kitten Stitcher. And I'm very excited about that because it's so pretty. So I feel like I was a little bit off on a tangent, so I'm sorry. And then the last piece of haul that I got a piece of 36 count Cafe au lait by Fiber on Whim. And I bought this, I'd had it on my notify me when it's back in stock. So it came, so I was like, okay, I'm going to order it. I don't know what I ordered it for, but it's pretty. So I was like, I need to go in there and pull my charts out and see what I ordered this for. But then that's just going to make me want to start that too. And I got a lot of starts planned for the next couple of weeks. So I'm like, okay, just don't look at that till you finish one of these little ones. I don't know if that's going to work or not. We'll see. So that's kind of all I have for my cross stitch portion. I know it's not a ton, but I do appreciate you coming and hanging out with me for a little bit. I'm going to move on to quilting. So if you're not interested in quilting, I do plan on being back 2 weeks from now with some updates. Again, if you're stitching anything, I am. If you'll use that hashtag, why is that such a hard word to say? Hashtag stitching with the nerd. Also, tag me in the post. I know several of you talked about maybe starting Consider Lily. So, Rebecca, are you going to start with me? Do you have your stuff? Let's start. I do still want to start Anne Ufendale. I just do. Pam has started it. It's so pretty. But I have so I'm having a little dilemma. Normally I do a birthday start, a Christmas start, a New Year's start. That's 3 more things. And that's not including my back to school because I have that one picked out. But I have 4 charts that are big that I want to do with those 3. I can't narrow one of those down. I don't know. Maybe I'll show them to you next time and you can help me decide on that. But anyway, I'm going to move on to quilting. If you're not staying, I appreciate you hanging out with me. I do encourage you to stay. Again, I don't have tons and tons, but I do have more to show than what I have before. So you might see something that sparks an interest. And I might remember something I didn't say in the first half of the video because me and my scatterbrain, that's how it works these days. But if you are moving on, I would, again, appreciate a like. If you are not subscribed, but you've watched me a couple times, you'd like to come hang back out with me, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. There is a notification bell. You can get notified every time I post a video. If you're not interested in seeing everything that I post, you can still subscribe just so I'm in your list of people to go back and look when you're caught up on your other ones. The whip parades, have they not been fantastic? Just fantastic. And I'm very excited. I guess summer school is going on right now. I saw some posts this morning. I cannot wait to see. People are posting some of the charts and stuff. Ooh. Oh, they're so pretty. They're so pretty. So pretty. So anyway, okay, enough oohing and gooing over cross stitch. I'm going to move on to cross stitch. Quilting. I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm going to start with haul because that's normally how I move. After I show you all my cross stitch haul, I'll show you my quilting haul. I only have a couple things, so I feel like I did pretty good. It's only because I've only been to one quilt shop is why I don't have very much. I did order a bolt of Kona white, which you don't need to see that. It's just white fabric. And some binding for my niece's quilt. And I'm going to show you some of the blocks for that in a minute. If you didn't watch my video where I talked about that, if you didn't know, Fat Quarter Shop will give you a discount if you buy a whole bowl of certain fabrics. So I always buy I keep a bowl of Kona Snow and Kona White. Always. And I knew I was running kind of low, so I went ahead and ordered another bolt because I could get the discount. And then the cross stitch store the quilting store that I told you about that we'd stopped on with the little dog. I have a couple things that I bought there. Super nice lady. Super nice. Her name is Marsha. Hold on. I want to tell you the name of the cross stitch quilt shop. What is wrong with me? The Quilting Coop. The Quilting Coop is what it's called. Super nice lady. The dog's name is Buttons. Is that not a great name for a quilt shop dog? And he was just his little big white thing. And then once he barked at you, he wasn't barking at you to be mean. He was just like, hey, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. And he bark. And then you go in and he was loving on my husband. He was super cute. Anyway, look, right there's the name. I had to look it up. It was right there. I didn't even know it was on there. The Quilting Coop. And again, she told me, I haven't been in there before. This was our first trip. She did tell me they have come sit and sew type stuff. And she has a big long arm in the back. She does some long arm quilting. When we were there, a lady was coming in to drop her quilt off. And she has beautiful quilts on the wall hanging everywhere. It was very inspiring to go in there, and she has a nice little area in the front with some stuff for sale, and it was nice. And it's not far from us, so I will go back there at some point. It's not somewhere that I would go every week because I would be broke, but it was nice. So I bought a little little piece of fabric. I don't know why I bought it, but brown and teal is just so pretty together. So in my mind now, you know, it used to be, oh, I'll make a table runner. Oh, I'll make this, I'll make this. So now I'm like, oh, I can make a project bag with that. I've made 2 project bags, but I have enough things bought to do like 30 because that's my excuse for buying fabric. I'm sorry. I saw another floss tuber also say that every time she does a video, her nose runs. So it's not just me. Maybe it's, oh, sorry, I'm shaking you. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just rambling. I'm sorry. But then she also had this bundle of Lori Holt fabrics. And again, this red is showing super bright. It's not super bright. It's, even if I hold it back, it still shows super bright. But it's not that bold. But it's 3 1.5 yard pieces. I like Lori Holt fabric. And this combination I like together. I like red and teal together. We had gone on a family vacation and stopped at a couple quilt shops for me, and I was determined. I was okay, on this vacation I'm just going to buy teal and red fat quarters, and I'm going to make a quilt when I get home with them. Every quilt store we went in, there was no teal and red, but I thought this would be a good start for something. And here's her information. Let me put that up in case you're interested. Quilted Coupe. But super nice. Marsha Clark is the owner. So I bought that. This will be a future project. Probably not anything till first of the year. I have not done very well this year in my quilt plans and finishing some stuff up. I still have a lot of pieces of quilts done, and I just need to like pick a quilt every month and just finish it. I'm behind on both my quilt alongs, but I have to get my niece's quilt done first. So once her quilt's done, then I'll pick one of those, try to get caught up, then pick another one, try to get caught up. Quilt camp is in November. So I need to get my act together because, you know, we like to bring our stuff because we're all there together and work on them. And I'm always the one that has the least amount done. So we'll see. So this is Barn Star Sampler that I'm working on. This is one of the quilt alongs. It's kind of one of our official ones. It's not the one, but this is one of the ones that we're both working on. Both. There's 4 of us. 4 is not both. 4 is all of us. And this isn't one that's like, hey, let's just finish this by December. But they all, one of the girls, I'm sure hers is done by now because she had a ton done at last camp. And the other 2 started theirs at camp and got great progress. I have 2 blocks done. This is the same block I showed you last time, but just for proof, I did finish the second one. So I have those 2 done. I would like to next, I'm sorry I keep shaking you. I have to find a better place to stack all my stuff. But this little stack of fabric is going to be for these smaller stars right here. So I want to do these next. And then, where is it? There is a spot, I think it's on where the quilt is folded over, but this is the block that I did. Underneath the block on this other side, there's 2 smaller ones. So I want to get those done. I think this one maybe. These might be the biggest blocks. Or maybe this one. This one is beautiful. And in this book, if you don't have this book, in it they have a lot of smaller quilts too with these patterns, and they're beautiful. They're just absolutely beautiful. Okay. So the last thing I have to show you is I actually made some progress on my niece's quilt. I had said that July, this is all I was going to do in my quilting world in July. I didn't quilt anything in July. Nothing. So, well, maybe I might have done one of those vlogs in July. But I was like, okay, I have to, like, I'm at crunch time. I got to get this together. So the one she picked out is in Simply Half Yards. This is the quilt she picked out. And her wedding colors are like sage, like greens and a hint of blue and a little bit of gold. So I know she doesn't watch us, but I feel like I need to say, Katie, if you're watching this, stop, because I'm going to show some of your quilt. So all the blocks are the same pattern, so it's just a mix match of the fabrics. So I love this fabric right here. I wish I had a bunch of yardage of that. It had just come in a fat quarter bundle with something that I did. Here's the next one. And there will be some duplicate blocks in here. I really like that one. These aren't trimmed up yet. I'm going to wait to square them up until I'm ready to put the borders between. So the quilt has 16 of these blocks, and then sashing and cornerstones. And then this is just the same as that one. But it has 16 blocks, sashing, and cornerstones. And then the binding that I ordered is this blue. So my plan is to get that done. I really wanted to have it done this week, but my daughter came over one night. My son and his girlfriend were over a couple nights. And, you know, I just want to hang out with my kids. So I still have time to get it done, but I really need to have it in order for me to not stress out about the time frame. I need to have it mailed off to the quilter next week. So it should be manageable. I had messaged her mom the other night to see. I was like, you know, I know this is a little bit corny, but I'm working on her quilt. Did you want to come over and put a couple of stitches in it? And she does. So she's going to come over and put some stitches in. I think what I might do, whatever block or blocks, I don't know how much she wants to do, but whatever she stitches on in that block, I think I want to, you know, those decorative stitches that you have on your machine that you never use. You bought the machine because I had all these stitches, but you don't use them. I have a quilt that I'd started a long time ago that I did this on, and it's not finished because I couldn't find any, I'm sorry, any fabric to match. The line got gone and I can't find anything that matches it. But I had done like along this area right here, I just used those decorative stitches and just did a line of decorative down it before I pieced it together. So that's my thought on the block that her mom does some sewing on. I want to put just one little in white so it doesn't really like stand out, but it's just one little strip of decorative through there, so that if she goes back and looks, she can see that that's the block that her mom put some love in. So that's the plan for that. Once this one is done, I would like to go back to my Kim Deal quilt, Scraps of Kindness. Yeah, Scraps of Kindness. It was a monthly block of the month from Fat Quarter Club. Ooh, from Fat Quarter Shop. I have the last 2 months that were sent, and then the finishing on it, and the blocks are beautiful. And I have Pumpkinaholic Quilts has one of Kim Deal's quilts hanging up behind her. Someone else on Instagram finished it. I can't think of who it was, but they showed theirs, and it's so pretty. I want to do that quilt one day, but I want to do a lot of quilts one day. That's my problem. Pineapple Fabrics is supposed to open up next month, so I'll probably make another trip down there. We'll see. But anyway, just babbling at this point. But her quilt will be done by the next video. It should be done and at the quilter, so I won't be able to show it to you finished, because shortly after that she'll have her shower and I'll go ahead and give it to her. But I will post pictures after I gift it on my Instagram, and I may like insert one in a future video somewhere. I don't know. So if you're a quilter, new to quilting, want to be a quilter, like, just take that first step. Like, jump in, get you a super easy beginner pattern. Google something online that's free where you don't have to put a lot of money into it, and just take a step. Your first block is not going to be pretty. It's going to be a mess, but it's okay because practice makes things better. I have some days where I come in here and I can't sew a straight line to save my life. I can't make points match, and it's so frustrating. Last week, and even in the last video, I had the shakes, like almost like I have issues. If I don't eat when I'm supposed to eat, I'll pass out. It's been a thing ever since I was a little girl. Went to the doctor, he tested my blood sugar and all that stuff, and he was like, he said, if she needs to eat in the first hour that she wakes up to keep her from passing out, just eat in the first hour. It's not rocket science. So I just make sure I eat when I'm supposed to, and I don't have that issue. But if I go too long and I don't eat, like I will shake, and I know that I need to get some sugar like in my body. But last week during the video, like I had a case of the shakes, and it wasn't that same shake. It was like a different kind of shaky. So I think that it's probably some medicine that I started taking. I looked at the side effects, and it is one of the side effects. So I'm going to talk to my doctor and see if that's anything to be concerned about. But I had a couple moments through the week where, like, one night I was trying to thread a needle, and it was like, I just could not, for the life of me, get that thing threaded. And then I was standing in the kitchen talking to my son, and I went to close the cabinet door, and I was like super shaky. So, and sometimes, just little things like that will take you out of your realm. And I'm like, I can't be shaky all the time. I got things to do. Do you see all this fabric? I have a lot of things I need to do. So anyway, Katie's quilt is going to get done, and then I'm going to move on to Scraps of Kindness. And then I have my 2 quilt-alongs to get caught up on. I do have a quilt-along. I'm determined next year to do that Civil War quilt. It is, I don't see the book right there, readily available, but I'll show it to you later on in the year because I don't want to just keep showing it and not do anything on it. But I will, I want to get that one done next year. And, I have tons of quilts that I want to get done, but I love it, and it will never be, I can't imagine it will be something I will never want to do because I really do love it. It's very therapeutic and enjoyable. So if it's something you're thinking about, like I said, just take that first step and go for it. I appreciate you being here, listening to me babble and talk all over the place about craziness. My plan is to be back in 2 weeks. I hope to see you there. If you have, again, anything that we're stitching like, use that hashtag, and I'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye, guys.